I was raised to believe people should treat each other right, but a lot of the times they don't. Why won't you take care of your customer?
What part of your job's done didn't you understand?
Well, see, because you don't tell me my job's done.
You're not a real taxi. Can you tell us who you with? They'll lie, cheat, and steal from you. Sir, we'd like to talk to you about possible prosecution for selling a stolen car. They think nobody cares.
Okay, turn the camera off right now.
I care, and that's why TrustDALE Investigates. Kicking him when he's down. That's what George Silver said happened to him when a so-called friendly contractor knowingly burned him after fire had already destroyed his home.
Well, in December, just before Christmas, I had a home fire.
That fire left a portion of George's home in ruins, so he hired this man, a contractor recommended by neighbors, to rebuild.
And Mr. Tornasonu came out to give us an estimate on cabinet building and wanted to be paid a portion of the money up front, which I paid him $1,037.
The contractor shook George's hand, then made a beeline to the bank to cash the check. That's the last time George saw him.
He had taken at least a third of my master closet shelving. We were out not only the money, but the shelving for our closets.
It turns out he doesn't appear to be the only victim.
Where are my cabinet doors? I paid for them. I want them back. Hardware and all, because you come to hardware.
Coming up, stopping a serial schemer. See what happens when more victims come out of the woodwork accusing this cabinet maker of stealing from them.
They're alleging that they have given you money and you haven't done their services for them. No? And some people have even said that this is kind of a pattern of yours.
That's their opinion.
I would love to recover at least something, but I don't have a lot of hope that that'll be the case.
When George Silvers handed over his cabinet doors, along with a check for more than $1,000 to a contractor, he thought he was well on his way to having his fancy, burned-out closet rebuilt. Instead, he says he discovered he was just the latest homeowner to be taken by the cabinet maker's alleged money-making scheme.
Where are my cabinet doors? I paid for them. I want them back. Hardware and all, because you come to hardware.
Yvonne Nichols says she, too, was ripped off by the woodworker.
And he said, I can fix this, have it done in 48 hours. I have to take the doors to the shop so I can modify them there and get them stained, whatever. That sounds reasonable to me. And he said, the only thing is I need half the money.
She gave him $312. He took the doors and then disappeared.
He's professional. I think he does it. From my research, it's just the way he operates.
And that appears to be true. Our investigation discovered 4 other customers, not including George, who say this man, Mark Tornasonu, has a habit of taking deposits for work he doesn't complete.
As far as I can tell, he is a con artist.
James Moore initially recommended the contractor to some of his customers, but he's now warning people to beware.
I think he is getting what he can on deposit with his charm and, promises and nice brochures. And next thing you know, he had taken cabinets out of someone's house and he was going to repair them and bring them back, and then he disappeared along with their deposit.
We tried to get Tornasonu's side of the story, but he didn't return our calls. So George, Yvonne, and I dropped by his workshop to get answers. I'm Dale Cardwell with TrustDALE Investigates.
I recognize you.
How are you? We're here to try to get these folks' cabinets back and get their money returned.
I wouldn't know nothing about it, sir. You have to see Mark.
Surprise, surprise. Mark wasn't there, but guess what was? These are your doors?
Yep, he took the inserts out.
Oh my gosh, how do you feel about that?
How do you think I feel about it?
You feel ripped off, don't you?
Yeah.
We didn't find George's closet pieces, but we did accompany him to his local police department to file a theft report. But the investigation stalled. You see, it falls into what I call the rip-off range. That's when consumers pay contractors up front, at times as much as $50,000. But the project's never finished, often never even started. Consumers believe it's theft, but law enforcement classifies it as a business dispute to be settled in court. Good luck with that. We wanted a quicker resolution for George Silvers. TrustDALE producer Marnie Zambri approached Tarnasanu with his customer's allegations.
Can you understand why some people would say that they're not sure that they can trust you?
No.
They're alleging that they have given you money and you haven't done their services for them. No? And some people have even said that this is kind of a pattern of yours.
That's their opinion.
But it's an opinion that police eventually agreed with. When a warrant was about to be issued for his arrest, Tarnasanu decided to finally pay George back, and we were there.
Just for my curiosity, what happened? Why didn't you do what we agreed to?
So it's been just a long chain of events. I started off by biting off more than I could chew.
But it's what he said next that makes me feel like I'm doing my job right.
Ever since Cardwell has been on my back, I lost 4 clients. You know, and we're in good standings and everything, but, you know, I can't blame the clients for being scared of it. And that murdered me. That's what killed me.
Are you still trying to do business here?
No, I'm done.
But he wasn't done. We found evidence he opened up shop in Texas. A search of the Texas Secretary of State website shows he's established an LLC with another family member in the Lone Star State. And according to a source, the family member did not know what Mark was up to in Georgia until he saw our investigations on social media. Furthermore, we also have reason to believe that the money Mark gave George was not his to give. So again, take a good look at this guy. He may be charming, he may say all the right things, but according to his alleged victims, he's bad news. Shame on you, Mark. With honor and integrity, we will safeguard the American people, our homeland, and our values. That's the mission statement of the Department of Homeland Security. But when one citizen says she tried to report a possible threat, she says it was mission impossible to get anyone to listen.
It would be so easy for a terrorist or terrorists to come here and somehow violate the safety of this water supply. I'm originally a New Yorker. 9/11 hit me very hard. I had personal connection to 9/11.
Sue Haynes is the definition of a true patriot. You see, the back of her house has a barbed wire fence separating her property from 2 large towers that supply water for the city of Atlanta.
After 9/11, a representative knocked on our front door and explained to us that this is a major security fence and the water tower is critical. Should there be any damage, we were to contact the Department of Homeland Security. I was kind of overwhelmed, but I said, yes, sir, absolutely. We'll keep an eye on it.
So when a strong thunderstorm knocked a tree down, crushing the protective fence around the water towers, Sue stepped into action.
So I tried to contact Atlanta Watershed and Department of Homeland Security. No one wanted anything to do with me. It was nobody's responsibility.
Sue spent 6 weeks making phone calls and sending numerous emails to different government agencies, trying to get someone to fix the fence around the water towers.
And I was met with indignation.
No one seemed to care about the security fence, and no one would take any responsibility for making any repairs. We decided to reach out to Homeland Security ourselves. Listen what happens when I call the number listed for Atlanta.
Yeah, that would be the Atlanta office for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I mean, we wouldn't have anything to do with fence breaking, and I wouldn't know why they would even be involved. I mean, we mainly deal with agents and illegal immigrants and stuff like that.
Yeah, so this would not be the appropriate line to relate
I wouldn't even know where to direct you in that case.
Meanwhile, in Washington, Homeland Security says it needs more money, 150% more than the year after 9/11.
I ask the committee to support this budget, to continue supporting our employees and our missions, and to continue to help us make our country more secure.
The Senate committee did give the thumbs up for the Department of Homeland Security's budget request for 2019, around $50 billion. So why was it so hard to get anyone to respond to Sue's inquiry?
It's just a bowl of spaghetti, and the left hand and the right hand are probably not always communicating.
Harold Kopus is a former FBI agent who now works in the private sector. He says DHS dropped the ball.
When you think about what could happen and how you could damage the water supply, you think this is a person who truly is a patriot. She stepped forward and said, we have a problem, it needs to be addressed.
Is it a problem that no one addressed it for weeks and weeks?
Oh, that is a problem, by the way.
With so much on their plate, DHS is now heavily relying on local authorities to respond.
You really don't have as much protection as you think. It really comes down to the local police and security that the various cities.
After prodding local bureaucrats, the City of Atlanta's Watershed Department finally took responsibility for the fence, but downplayed the damage, saying it was only to an outer fence, adding that the inner fence is the point of protection and is checked twice daily by our Department of Watershed Management security. In addition, the site is monitored by security cameras and a remote sensing unit, so this site is quite secure. But meanwhile, Sue has been making a very simple request for 3 months.
I just want the section of chain link fencing that's crushed. Just replace it, please.
Eventually, they did come out and remove the fallen trees and repair the fence. And we're thankful for citizens like Sue, who do their part to help us all. Next on TrustDALE Investigates.
We absolutely do not know what to do. We do not know where to go from here because we felt like we had taken all the steps, the necessary steps that Sears required. We just weren't getting anywhere.
Watch as the TrustDALE team takes on one of the nation's largest appliance retailers. Before big box stores and cyber shopping, the go-to place for appliances was Sears. From stoves and ovens to washers and dryers, Americans could count on Sears for providing and maintaining all their family's modern conveniences.
Absolutely do not know what to do.
Becca and Dana Flowers raised their family on Sears products, but when their new refrigerator died, so did their confidence in Sears.
It quit cooling, so we called Sears out and they diagnosed it with a bad compressor. So they shipped us a compressor and they put it in and it didn't work.
Sears sent 2 more compressors, 1 evaporator coil and a fan, but the fridge was still on the fritz. With 7 children and 9 grandbabies, Mama Bear was not happy.
But the more appointments that we had to schedule, the more frustrated I became. We have had a couple appointments where no one showed up.
But even when they do show up, it's not much of a show.
They don't even seem confident that they're going to get it working because this refrigerator has been such a problem for them.
Even worse, every time a service tech comes out, they want more cash.
And I'm always, we are not giving you a penny. You have not fixed this refrigerator. You are here because you came to repair it and couldn't repair it, or you ordered the wrong part, or you ordered a part that came broken. We are not paying $89 every time you come out here.
It got Becca thinking, could it be more than just the fridge that's broken?
In years gone by, I would have said that Sears was a company that would take care of their people. We have had Sears products years ago, but Sears should have taken care of this. When they realized that we were having issues and that even the repairmen said we had a lemon, we should have gotten a refrigerator.
Dan Wright can relate to Dana and Becca's dilemma.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the worst experiences I've ever had.
He ordered a stove from Sears' online outlet, and despite paying extra for expedited shipping, 2 months and nearly 24 calls later, no stove.
I asked her, I said, hey, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's worth $270 to have something shipped to me 2 months later? Do you think $270 shipping is 2 months later? That sounds like you put it on a boat from China and went around the long way to bring it to me. At this time I didn't know this, but it's just been sitting on the store because no one really cares.
At TrustDALE, we do care. A few phone calls to the company's public relations team turned things around, first for Dan.
The main thing that happened once TrustDALE got involved was they were calling me. They were proactively fixing the problem because clearly they knew they were in trouble, but they refunded the shipping, and then we got a little card of apology and a $200 Visa gift card.
And then we tackled Dana and Becca's problem.
Here we go. Our lovely new refrigerator. I will say I'm so happy that Sears did the right thing. It took a long time to do it, but they did do the right thing, and we're very happy with that.
Were you surprised that TrustDALE could get results so quickly?
Yes, very surprised. Very surprised. I don't know who your little fairies are, but they did a great job. They worked great.
Apparently, the lack of customer service at Sears was just a symptom of a much larger problem. Since airing these stories on social media, Sears has filed for bankruptcy. Still to come, her HOA went MIA.
I think they don't like me. I don't know. I just want my yard to look pretty like everybody else's. I want everything done like it's supposed to be done.
Find out how TrustDALE solves this homeowners association problem. The purpose of a homeowners association is to keep a neighborhood looking good. But what happens when your HOA goes MIA? Who do you call then? TrustDALE. A beautiful lawn doesn't happen by itself. This is Mary Lawson's lawn. She's not my neighbor, and it's not a side job for me to make extra money. But this is about money. Money Mary paid to her HOA for regular lawn maintenance.
I paid $153 every month. It's supposed to be the grass, the shrubs, the edging, front and back.
But for 3 months, Mary's HOA groundskeeper has been a bit of a snake in the grass, and Mary can't figure out why.
I think they don't like me. I don't know. I just want my yard to look pretty like everybody else's. I want everything done like it's supposed to be done.
Looking for an explanation, Mary reached out to the property management company, but got a no response.
99.9% of the time, it's somebody voice call. Once in a while, I called and talked to someone, say, please, we'll return your call tomorrow. We'll let them know. And no one ever calls back.
So we decided to pester them ourselves.
The items in question that Ms. Lawson is referring to is maintained by the homeowner, not the association.
Really? Right here, it clearly states her HOA is responsible for yard maintenance, but he had another excuse.
In this circumstances, from my understanding, she went ahead and planted her own bushes, which means that was not the association bushes. In this situation, when someone goes ahead and makes any alterations, it's their responsibility for the maintenance.
Guess what? There's nothing written in these 60 pages of covenants and bylaws that actually states that. So while the management company tries to backtrack, the TrustDALE team took charge. TrustDALE is going to mow your grass today, and we're going to clip your lawn, and we're going to trim your hedges.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that. TrustDALE, you know what? You're not only fantastic. Oh, you don't know how much I appreciate you.
We're going to take care of you. Trimming, edging, and mowing, and cleaning up Mary's yard, because it's the right thing to do. And now, finally, the HOA is also doing the right thing by putting her yard back on the schedule.
You are fantastic. And I need your autograph.
By law, every HOA is required to give owners a copy of the rules and bylaws. So no matter how boring it may seem, be sure to read them before you sign your contract. Engaging you is an important part of all our investigations, and we're listening to what you have to say on our Facebook page and answering your consumer questions. On Cabinet Crook, Sharon says, another idiot who thinks he can walk away with your money. Watch out, people. He's in Texas now. Also on Cabinet Crook, Chris says, glad he was caught. People give you their hard-earned money. It's not hard to do a decent job and right by your customer. We agree. On water security, Elaine says, TrustDALE, you're the best and a true patriot yourself. Also, thanks to Sue for her tenacity. And for Sears Solution, Linda says, took them long enough. Guess you owe it to TrustDALE for being there to help. Glad you got your new fridge. Helping people find solutions to seemingly unsolvable consumer problems is what we do. If you have a consumer problem that you think is unsolvable, let us know and keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube page. I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. We'll see you next time. TrustDALE Investigates.